Oranga Tamariki has apologised and admitted failings in the way it tried to remove a baby from her mother in Hawke's Bay earlier this year. The agency says it will now make changes to its approach, while the Minister for Children says she won't be asking for the agency's boss to resign. Following the Newsroom coverage of the attempted uplift, there was an internal investigation that the family refused to take part in. And as several other iwi-led investigations are underway, Oranga Tamariki says it will change its policies and connect with whānau better. Dunlop reports.
The attempt to take a newborn baby from her mother in a Hawke's Bay hospital in May shocked the country. 2 midwives were locked out of the hospital, leaving the 19-year-old alone in her room, while Oranga Tamariki staff and police tried to remove her child. Oranga Tamariki CEO Gráinne Moss says she is deeply saddened by the findings of the review.
The first thing I want to do is to give a public apology to the whānau and those that are close to them. Our job is to protect children, it's to help families and give them hope. But instead we have deeply hurt a family and the people close to them. For that I am profoundly sorry.
The inquiry found Oranga Tamariki did the right thing to get involved because staff held concerns for the baby, but made mistakes when dealing with the family and others. Staff did not try hard enough to build good relationships with whānau or explore options to place the baby with wider family or reach out to hapu and iwi networks. More than half of children taken from their whānau by Oranga Tamariki are Māori, and the number of Māori children taken by the agency has risen since 2014. When asked if systemic bias contributed to the removal of the baby, Gráinne Moss could not deny it.
So we need to continue to focus on building the highest quality workforce that our children and our families deserve. I think what we do have is we do have biases within social work practice that we always need to challenge.
Ngāti Kahungunu representative Shane Walker cast an independent eye over the report and says Oranga Tamariki now has the opportunity to change its practice in line with kaupapa Māori practices. But that positivity was expressed through a not-so-veiled barb at the agency's performance to date.
Is it enough? I don't think it's ever enough. I think there will be no choice about a number of things that will have to be worked through. Will they all do a perfect job right now? I think this organisation just has such opportunities now to start to do that properly.
The inquiry has prompted immediate changes to the way it removes children deemed at risk. It has recommended much stricter rules will be in place if the ministry wants to remove a baby from a family without notice. And unless the child is in imminent danger, that on-notice custody order applications will be the default to ensure the family is given the opportunity to have their say. Meanwhile, the Minister for Children, Tracy Martin, has expressed her profound disappointment at the findings. She says there have been serious consequences for Oranga Tamariki staff involved, but would not be asking the CEO of Oranga Tamariki, Gráinne Moss, to resign.
There have been serious consequences for Oranga Tamariki staff out of this incident, and there will be other consequences. But those are employment matters, so I'm not going to jump into employment matters. If you're asking me, am I going to seek Gráinne Moss's head? No, I'm not, because it's not constructive.
Oranga Tamariki says it's accepted all of the report's recommendations. For Checkpoint, ko Māni Dunlop tēnei.
Des Ratama of Ngāti Kahungunu negotiated with Oranga Tamariki at Hawke's Bay Hospital to prevent the newborn being uplifted from his mother. He's on the line now. Tēnā koe, Des. The whānau didn't want to be involved in this particular investigation because they didn't trust its independence. But I'm wondering, have you had the opportunity to talk to them about the findings? What do they make of it?
No, I personally haven't had a chance to talk with them, but I do understand the reasons why they didn't want to be included or participate in it, because right from the outset, when we met with the Minister, it was about the question that they had been answered rather than the question that Oranga Tamariki had to ask about itself. So they weren't all that interested then in what Oranga Tamariki was going to do to look at itself, and which is what the findings are today.
What do you think of the findings?
Yeah, look, I think the findings were brave. I think they were brave because it did require them to admit things are wrong, and Gráinne Moss's apology sort of indicates in that direction. I think that but then to say that there was justification as to why the uplift proceeded is a disconnect. You can't say sorry, but you were right. Those two things don't work together. And so the allegations that the Section 78 was based on, the history that was being used, all of that was wrong, and all of that had changed. And the family had said that from the outset, and nobody was being listened to. And what I read in the short time I had to see the bullet point presentation today was there was acceptance that they didn't consult with professionals. They didn't consult with the wider family and the family, so they had no way of gauging the improvements that this family had gone through, significant improvements. They just went on the first uplift, justifying the second uplift. And I think that's really what hasn't been divested out today.
Oranga Tamariki acknowledges that it did harm to this family. What effect has all of this had on the parents of this baby and the baby?
Oh, look, no, it's had substantial emotional, mental effect on them. I know right now that they're under stress from their neighbours, which is just sad that the neighbours have decided to have some sort of say on what's going on. So they're under that every day. I get a call from the family mother today saying that their daughter is getting this sort of intrusion. There is still no real ability for this family to move forward. What I did see, though, in one of the recommendations today was, as you just pointed out, the admission that they have harmed this family, and there's a need to look at ways to restore the mana and the well-being back to this family that has been created by Oranga Tamariki. I'm looking forward to what that might look like.
What do you think it should look like?
Well, I think there should be a range of solutions applied to this family. Housing, financial compensation for the harm and dignity, loss of dignity, the public exposure of themselves that now puts them in a situation where neighbours are saying things about them. I think there should be a mix of that. I think there should be an opportunity as well for an opportunity for them to face, and I'm not too sure what the family would want to do this, but I personally think they should face the people that brought this damage into their homes and given a chance for face-to-face apology to occur. I would certainly be happy to broker a mediation so that everybody comes out of this better than they went in.
Are you going to help them seek financial compensation, or is somebody helping them with that?
No, what I am helping them to do is get their lives back in order, get some support around housing, and we've been supported on that by the Minister, by our MP, by Mika Paitiri and her staff. I'm helping with the family get employment. I'm helping with the sister get licensed training so she can get employment. We're working around the situation of how we might bring counselling and all those other support services into the family at their request if they want it. But financial compensation is not one of the things I've been asked to do. And if I was asked to do, then I will certainly support the family that way. I think that's a bigger level discussion, maybe an iwi-level discussion.
So a lot of things have been done to support this whānau now. The report does say that the concerns for the safety of the child were legitimate. It's the way that it was handled that was wrong. Can you accept that?
No, I can't, because what I'm saying, if you're apologising, that means you did something wrong, which includes how this whole thing got started. They have accepted that they didn't do the right investigations at the start, which means they put their Section 78 into action without the complete information.
So the court order to remove the child was obtained using poor information, in your view?
Poor, and not just my view, their view, and historic information that was outdated. Right? And so what they found out since, and what the family made us aware of when I went to the uplift, is that they had changed. And it was easy for me to see that being changed. It was easy for me to see that they had strong family support. Why was it that Oranga Tamariki at that stage couldn't see that. That's a real dilemma for me.
Des,
So then to say that there was justification for the uplift, it don't make sense.
Des, we're almost out of time, but do you have faith that Oranga Tamariki can make the changes it needs to?
No, I don't think they can make the changes without assistance from the iwi, without assistance from the communities. And from the iwi perspective and the community perspective, we're happy to help and to engage. And that's what I can say will then give us reassurance that they can do things better.
Appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for joining us. That is Des Ratama from Ngāti Kahungunu, who assisted with the negotiations around that uplift.